Paul tells us that we are many parts but one body, and the highlight of Synod for me this year is the reminder of that fact, that from wherever we come, me from the parish of Dalby, where they are currently trucking bales of cotton to the gin, and whether I'm going to worship at Cooperoo this morning or gathering to meet and to discuss here at Churchy, that we bring those gifts and that we are all members of one body. And that encourages me as then I return home and continue to serve the mission of God.
So one of my favourite parts of Synod this year, and there has been quite a few, but really the thing that's really struck me has just been how wonderful it is for people to gather from right across our diocese, and the opportunity for meeting new people, speaking with people in the courtyard, the bits in between the important business of Synod as well. In particular, today, for instance, I was able to meet Reverend Lucy from Budgeroom. I met her several years ago when she was working with the Australian Church's Refugee Task Force, and I hadn't realised she'd moved to our diocese. So it was really wonderful to rekindle that friendship, and at the same time also to meet Jenny, who is our project officer for our domestic and family violence project, and just to have a wonderful conversation with the both of them over lunch.
G'day, my name's Michael. I'm the priest in charge at the parish of Wishart. A great highlight for me this Synod has been catching up with my mate Matt Skelton, who's the priest in charge at Allera Clifton. We were in formation together, so it was great to get together and share fellowship together.
I had many conversations with people, which is so spiritual and which truly inspired me too, like the journeys that we all travel separately into one, conversations of the same topics. And we say that God works mysteriously, which is true. Our spirit that comes together at times like this, that without we personally not realizing that these conversations leads on from the time comes. And you might not realize at the time now you're speaking, but when you go back home, you will realize that the message came through you from God to pass on, to share.
Perhaps my best kind of memory of this Synod, thing I'm most pleased about, is working with Adam Lowe on the presentation of the 2022 data, and how warmly difficult news can be received and processed by the Synod. I thought there was a real deep appreciation for Adam's work, and in a sense for us to listen to what the statistics are telling us.
And I'm very impressed with the approach everyone is having in their question and answers, and the many things they're taking on hand to understand these effects that we're all faced with in our world.
A highlight for me from this year's Synod was the motion on sustainability, specifically the Sustainability Action Plan. So in the parish of Hervey Bay, last year we started the season of creation 4 weeks in September, where we have a focus each week with guest speakers on the environment. And so I'm really excited about the Sustainability Action Plan, the idea of us creating a plan where we can, as a parish, move forward, where we are looking at the footprint, the environmental footprint of our parish. Essentially, we are stewards of creation for future generations, and so it's every parish's responsibility, I believe, to have some kind of plan going forward.
My highlight of this Synod was seeing the youth justice motion passed, partly because Anglican has done so much work in this area, and it's great to see the Synod support that.
So the highlight for me always is the lay conference, where we get terrific questions from people who might not otherwise feel comfortable about moving a motion or debating on the floor of Synod, but it's a great space to hear from the lay people and get a really good sense of the questions that they would love to ask.
Synod is the way, is a place that we learn a lot about how to analyze something, how to put things to good place, how to move together in fellowship of God. And it's really brilliant and fantastic for God people to come together and also brainstorming our mind and also setting the idea of Word of God and move together in one spirit. And it's really fantastic and very good to be here. And I wish this journey will also, we proclaim the gospel of Christ to go and see and bring up a new idea to the new generation.
I think for me, one of the great highlights of Synod has been the motions that have come forward. We're not afraid to tackle difficult issues that we can't solve in 1 year. We're looking at compassion for refugees, we're looking at climate change, we're looking at domestic violence, we're looking at big long-term things with love and with care, knowing that it is a long-term project.
The best part of Synod for me this time around was absolutely the Synod Eucharist. We had magnificent, beautiful liturgy, we had great preaching, and we had some fantastic hymns that were set the tone for what we're doing here. It was all about justice and better loving the world that we serve. And then we've come with that lens in mind into Synod, and we've passed some really great stuff. We've talked about youth justice and sustainability and the environment and modern slavery. So we've done some really great work from the outset, and the Eucharist was the perfect way to begin.
I'm Michelle, and my highlight of Synod is my priest in charge buying me good coffee.